Hello and welcome to your safeguarding session, and this is a video that will accompany it. I'm about to introduce you to David Richards, who is the service lead for the multi-agency safeguarding hub, which is part of Portsmouth City Council's Children's Social Care. Dave is also an advisor on our management board, and he will explain to you about the role of children's social care, the role of MASH, and how us as Homestar and you as volunteers fit into that.
Hi, my name is David Richards. I work for Portsmouth City Council and I've been a social worker for over 30 years. Today I'm here to talk to you about safeguarding, that's at a national level and also at a local level, and how this works. Safeguarding is everyone's responsibility, and it ranges from how to make sure that children are safe crossing the roads, to advice maybe around co-sleeping, to child protection where an intervention has had to happen to make a child safe. You need to understand the local context and where you fit within that. To help that, I've got a diagram which you will have sent to you electronically in the future. The words I've used are words that we use within our systems, and they're very important for us because they give some continuity. So, when someone's talking or referring a child who they have concerns about, they're going to make a contact. The contact is with the multi-agency safeguarding hub, MASH. Initially, the person or persons taking that call are administrators. Administrators are really important people because what they do is they take the information that is being provided to ensure that other people within the system who need to make decisions are making decisions upon the right children. Once they've completed this piece of work, what they do is that they send it electronically towards a senior to make a decision. This is decision number one. Decisions are based on what is it we know, what is it we think about what we know, and how do we know that. That combination enables us in that position to dictate where pieces of work go. You will hear me talking about tiers of need, 1, 2, 3, 4. Tiers 1 are about children who receive a service in a universal circumstances. So, if you have a child, you will understand that you will need health provision, GP, health visitor, and also attend some kind of schooling. So that we refer to as Tier 1 universal service. Tier 2 is when a young person or a child has additional need. What I'd like to refer to as an example is that my daughter had some difficulty with hearing. Therefore, she had to go along to some specialist hearing services which added a level of need. So there was some additional need, is what we talk about in Tier 2. In Tier 3, we're talking about those children stroke families where there are some more complex needs. A good example of this would be maybe a child or children at a school from the same family who have said that they're not eating well, or maybe their clothes are dishevelled, or they're hungry. In that circumstance, we understand already there is a growing need, and therefore we might refer to them as a child in need. Tier 4 is of those children that may be in need of protection. So it's those children that will require a statutory intervention. Come back to our decision making. With that framework, that will enable us to make some decisions. I will now talk to you about the different routes that those contacts may be able to take. We're now going to use the tiers of need to explain how they help in the decision making. Given what we're told, given what we may know about what we have told, we're going to use those bits of information to start piecing a jigsaw. Now, if that level of need is 2 or below, what we will do is that we will direct the contact to our early help and prevention services. Within the city, we have a range of children's workforce that will work with children and families to help them overcome the difficulty that they're having at that given time. I'm going to just jump across the chart to the other end of the spectrum. The information that we've been told may be of a child protection nature, and it may be a child at risk or actually harm. In those circumstances, what happens is that the case goes immediately to a social worker, and a piece of law that governs the intervention is called a Section 47 of the 1989 Children Act. Every other contact that comes into the MASH, which doesn't go down the early help route or into the child protection route, will go into this machine, as I call it, the Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub. The Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub is made up of a range of agencies. They include children's social care, the police, health, education, domestic violence services, youth offending team officers. That group of people will help us understand what is happening within the family because of the information that they will hold on that child, that family, those circumstances. When we make this decision to put the case into the MASH, what we will do is that we will designate one of the members of the MASH team as the lead professional. Normally, that lead professional is the person who we would consider would be the expert in the area of concern. Their responsibility is to obviously check their systems to know what it is that they know about the family. They will also ensure that their colleagues within the MASH complete their checks within a timely fashion. Thirdly, they will analyse the information that they've received and give a recommendation about how they best feel the case should be dealt with. They then send that to a children's social care manager to make the final decision. The reason why it's sent to a children's social care manager is because by law we have to make that final decision. We're not saying we have a better mind in these areas, but it's just a piece of law. The decisions, as previously, will take different routes. We may decide that actually the family can be dealt with within the early help and prevention service. We may decide that the case needs a Section 47 child protection intervention. Or we may decide that the child or children and family need an intervention by a social worker, but it's not of a child protection nature. In those circumstances, we call it a child in need assessment, and is Section 17 of the 1989 Children Act. This process operates within a child's time frame. That time frame within Portsmouth is 24 hours. So from initial contact to decision, final outcome, 24 hours. For you as volunteers, you sit within this children's workforce, and as you can see by the diagram, you can operate within any of the tiers, and the types of work that you as a volunteer will be doing may just be assisting twins, maybe a family with twins, and that would maybe down around the tier 1, but you may also be part of a team operating at tier 3 and 4, where your role will be to befriend and assist, but obviously within the support of Home Start, but also the team that are supporting that family. For me, the role of a volunteer is vital because very often professionals with this environment don't have the time or the opportunity to build those relationships. And it's those relationships that very often make the difference to that child, to that family, for them to move forward. And when we talk about moving forward, oddly, we're talking about moving back, because what we want from the intervention is for things to improve, the family to commit to the change that is required, and for the level of need to come down the chart. And the services that I've described to you work together to ensure that that happens. We call it a soft landing. So it's coming down the tier of need, but you're not just left to come down on your own, you're supported all the way down. And volunteers, again, you may be the only person, the thread, that possibly got involved with the family in a child protection scenario and still be working with them when they come down and hopefully land in that space of universal service. Hence why I support Home Start, and hopefully you as volunteers will continue along this journey.